It's October, officially fall. This is episode 97 of Sustainable Photography. I am not looking forward to the darker season because I don't like it when it gets cold. So I've started listening to a lot of true crime podcasts and audiobooks. I'm looking forward to the hot chocolates and all the blankets and woolly socks and all that. But it's just a little bit stressful when you have to put on so much clothes before you go out the door. That is the thing that I don't care too much about. I don't know about you though. I'd love to know how you feel about fall and what you're excited about. So just message me on Instagram if you have anything to share. I have finished a few of my projects and shoots, and now I am planning this year's mini course, Create Your Best Year Yet. Now we're planning 2024. We did this last year, plan 2023, and I am so excited to do another one of these. We're going to start at the end of the month, so stay tuned for our sign up links for that. There's going to be limited tickets, and it's a week-long event. And if you joined last year, I hope you're going to join again so we can talk about how you did this year and what came true of the things that you set as goals. There are a few things I want to talk about today. I'm kind of feeling uninspired, and that's what I've heard from some of you as well, like feeling that you're stuck in a little bit of a rut. That maybe things really aren't going your way, that you're not at the place you thought you would be this year, because it does feel like the end of the year. And I just want to remind you that there's still 3 months left. There's the whole of October, November, and December. So that's a fourth of the year. So much can still happen. For me, I don't know what it is because there's so much I want to talk about. There's so much I want to share. And I keep getting feedback through, especially Instagram, for things that I know that you want to hear about. And when it gets to the point of recording, it just doesn't feel right. So the things that I've planned, it's just like, oh, no, this doesn't make any sense anymore. I don't want to do this. And now, for the very first time, I am recording an episode on the night before it goes live. So that's very new for me. I usually have it all planned out and I know what I'm going to say, but this time it's a bit different. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that have come up lately. And some of the things, they can sound a little bit cliche, but you have to believe in yourself and what you do. Because when you start doubting that it's possible, when you start not thinking that you can do it, that's when you stop taking action. That's when you stop doing the things that you need to do to move ahead. One of the reasons you might struggle to get anywhere, to move forward, is because you've kind of lost touch with who you are and what you really want. And this can often happen when you are ready to grow and you don't really know it yet. I used to shoot traditional weddings. That's what I did for over a decade. And I used to love it so much that it was unthinkable to me that I would ever get tired of it. But then I remember one day when I thought, what if I don't want to do this anymore? And that was such a scary thought because I didn't know what was next. But that's what happened. It got to a point where it just wasn't right anymore. I felt like I didn't resonate with weddings anymore and with the kinds of clients that, even though I liked them and I wanted to hang out with them, it was just so far away from what I would want for myself that it just became difficult. Because you do not have to be like your dream client. You can be very different from them as long as you understand them, as long as you can give them what they're looking for, even though that's not what you want yourself. And for me, that became too hard, and it was time that I made a change. And for me, that was moving from traditional weddings into elopements. And sometimes when you're struggling to get the kinds of clients that you want, it could be because you've changed. Maybe you've had a shift in your values. Maybe there's something that's happened. Or maybe you've just grown kind of tired with the kinds of clients you've had, and it's time that you do something else. So you need to think about who you are and what matters to you. Because whether you want to or not, you attract the things that you share and show and exude in a way. If I would have kept doing traditional weddings, I think it would be possible to kind of sense that I was just doing it out of old habit and that I wasn't passionate about it anymore. I think you would have been able to tell that I would have this kind of growing disdain against everything that's just set in stone, and having been to the same venue weekend after weekend where I just knew this is how a wedding at this place goes, and how people think that, oh, my wedding is really unique and special, and that I would still be able to tell what was coming next because I'd been there so many times and I'd done the thing again and again. And when you find that happening to you, then it's probably about time that you make a shift too. Because just because you've done things a certain way up until this point doesn't mean you have to keep doing it that way. So maybe it's about time that you reach out to someone, get some help, have someone you can talk to, that you can tell your ideas to, and let them know what's going on so that maybe you can get some new perspective and see how you might be able to do things in a different way, that maybe you're supposed to work with someone else. Maybe you're supposed to do something different than what you do today. I think the difficult part when you're a creative is that there are two sides of it that at some levels, they just don't really add up, because there's one part of you that's the artist that just wants to do what feels right. And then there's this other side, which is the business side. And if you're going to make a living from your art and your creativity, you need to also put your business hat on and make some decisions based on what makes sense in terms of your business. And the struggle might be, how can I do this without it interfering with the artist side? And I've had this question, or maybe not even a question, this pain point come up. What if I can't share my clients' images? What do I do then? And this is something that I think that we're going to see more and more of because of privacy laws, because people are becoming more aware of what might be able to happen with the images that they share or someone else shares of them and their families. So I think this is something that we need to get used to and we need to create a workaround for. And from an artist's point of view, I completely understand how devastating it is when you can't share your images because you've worked so hard for them. You want to share what you created. You want people to know what they can expect to get from you. And it's this deep-rooted thing that I think it's really hard to describe. But it's something that I've felt for years and years, that I just want to be able to share it. I want to enter competitions. I want to submit my photos to magazines. I want to do all the things. But from a business perspective, I honestly don't think you need to worry so much because your clients, your potential clients, they don't need to see every photo you've ever taken. They just need to see your artistic style. They need to see who you are as a person. They need to know how you are valuing them and what you can do for them. And making it clear that you value their privacy, that is worth so much to people. And I can honestly say that my best client ever, they didn't want me to share their images. And I was kind of skeptical at first. I was like, but it means so much for me to be able to share these images. Should I even take this job? I don't know if I should. And I remember having this discussion with myself, but it's definitely been worth it. It paid off in terms of that client, but they've also referred me to their friends and family because they felt so valued and appreciated. So there's so many ways of getting clients. And if you think about it, you only need a few photos on your website. I design websites for some of my clients. And when we put it together, we start with 20 to 100 images. That is not a lot of images when you are a professional photographer, because you don't need a ton, because most people don't have the time to sift through a bunch of photos. They just want to see your best work. So you need a few photos, and yeah, you need photos on your Instagram and social media, but you don't need an endless amount. You need a few great photos. And then I know this is not what you want to hear, because I know that you wish and you want your photos to speak for you, and that it should be enough to just share your photos. Explaining to your clients what they can expect to get, that is also so valuable. And that is something that I see lacking from a lot of websites and from a lot of social media profiles. It's explaining to your clients what they can get from you, telling them who you are and how happy other people have been from working with you. It's about more than just photos. And I do think that if you're a very open-minded person, if you share a lot of you and your family, then you're going to get the kinds of clients who want that as well. But if you're not, I think it's going to be a real struggle. I think you're going to find it really hard to get clients that are okay with you sharing everything of theirs if they're not seeing the same of you. So I think it all goes back to your values. I think you need to start there. What are my values? What means the most to me? And how can my dream client relate to me? What do we have in common? And as I said before, I think it's completely possible to work with someone who's quite different from you, but you need to figure out how you can understand them and make that clear. I think it gets easier when you have a lot in common instead of being very different in some ways, but it all starts with you. I hope this was helpful. I hope that you can find some inspiration and courage in yourself, to trust in yourself, to believe that it's possible for you, that even if things haven't gone exactly the way you wanted so far this year, that you're realizing that you still have time to do a lot this year and even more next year. I also want to encourage you to have people around you who understand what you do, who can help you and guide you, whether that's your peers, your colleagues, whether that's paying for a mentorship, whether that's doing a different kind of education, having a network group, whatever it is that might be right for you. I hope you'll believe that it's going to be worth it, because surrounding yourself by people who want something similar to you, who can give you a boost when you're feeling low, that's just something once you have that, you're just going to wonder how you ever managed without it. Okay, thanks for listening to my midnight rant, and I'll speak to you again next week. You just listened to an episode of Sustainable Photography. Please share this episode with a photographer you care about.